Go.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Gotta Read 'em All, a Pokemon podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike. With me is my co-host, Jen Graves, and we're going to talk all about Pokemon. Specifically, we are going to be talking about the Pokemon manga. And today,
Yeah.
we are looking at Chapter 1, and Chapter 1 is called A Glimpse of the Glow. But before we get into that, let's talk about a little bit about how we actually got into the Pokemon manga and why exactly we wanted to uh, do this as a bonus episode for our main series, which is Otakuology. Um, as somebody opens a can of soda, it seems like uh, on the other end of this call.
I didn't know
But
you could hear that.
yeah, I heard it last time too. But I'm a big fan of, well, I would say I'm a casual Pokemon fan. I think Jen's more of the hardcore Pokemon fan. But Jen, how did you exactly get into the Pokemon manga?
So I was buying manga, and I saw that there was a Pokemon box set of it, and I wanted to get into it and try it because I had played the video games and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
and just really wanted to see what it was about. If it actually had a story to it, if we followed Ash or if we followed Red,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of how it was.
Yeah. So what were your expectations of it before you read it?
My expectations of it were that it was basically going to be like a one for one almost rip off of the game. Um, kind of going down the same path as like any of the other like video
Mm-hmm.
game based manga like Dragon's Dogma,
Yeah.
um, or Dragon's Crown and stuff like that, where
Mm-hmm.
basically it was a rendition of it, and it was basically the same thing verbatim
Mm-hmm.
of you being the hero or whatever, going through the video game.
Did you when you were picking this up, did you get it when it was first coming out? Or was it like a little after?
Yeah, I got it after basically the first box set was coming out. The second
Okay.
one had just gotten announced.
Okay, because I actually started reading Pokémon Adventures this year.
Yeah.
When I started reading it, and started with the new collector's editions, which I'm up to
Right.
like 9 omnibuses for that series, and just to say a little difference between this and the older version. This one actually has a better paper quality and the print's a little better, and it's actually a bigger sized manga. Um, to differentiate the difference between both of the releases that we have, because you have the one of the original releases,
Yeah,
and,
the box set
and
release.
yours came in a box, and yours is smaller, and mine's more of like a Viz signature sized
Yeah,
manga.
mine's the traditional Tonkabon.
Yeah, yours is the traditional Tonkabon with that. But it's kind of been like an ongoing joke a little bit that we were eventually going to do this because we have other bonus podcasts that we've done, but we've never actually done one together,
Right.
except
Right.
for our other one that we just started technically,
Right.
the Unwind episodes.
Right. Eh, a look into our personal lives.
A look into our personal lives just a little bit.
Yeah.
But to give you a little bit of information on this particular manga. This came out in 1997. Can you believe that?
I can.
Were you even alive at that point?
I was.
How old were you?
I was 6.
You were 6?
Yeah, I was 6.
I think I was maybe in like elementary school. Maybe I think maybe like 4th or
Yeah.
5th grade.
Yeah, you would have been like middle elementary school.
Yeah. But let's get in to this first chapter. Chapter 1, or like as they like to say, Adventure 1.
Well, let me ask you this real
Okay.
quick. Did you ever read? I think they call it Pokemon the Pocket Comics.
All right, is that the one with like Clefairy on
I
the
think
cover?
Clefairy's one of them, but it's like I think there was one of them that came with one of the video games, and
Is are the other
it's small.
no, but I remember seeing not this particular manga. It was it was like the Electric Pikachu manga where it would have like a green cover.
Oh, the
I think
Electric Tales of Pikachu.
yes, I think I saw that one. And I was like,
Yeah,
what is this? Because I remember the anime was really big at the time. And I thought it was just a when I first saw the manga, I thought it was just an adaptation of the anime. I
right,
didn't realize it was an adaptation of the video games
right,
and and how much interconnected the video games were to each other,
right,
in this. And I was like, oh, that's just Ash. And they're like, no, that's not Ash. That's Red.
right.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, I never picked it up because I thought it was like just
Right.
almost like a cash grab
Right.
almost.
Well,
And
and then the funny thing is, I remember you and I talking about it and reading some parts that like aren't exactly true.
what do you mean?
I would say like they are, but they're not. Like there's parts where it's like, oh hey, this is a thing, but in what we know, it's not really that. It's not really something that's true. It's just made believe for the manga. Um,
Oh,
Yeah, like
yeah.
the big stone thingy that Eevee can use to swap between everybody, and
Okay. Yeah, because I know the creator actually didn't know really anything. The person who wrote this, who is Nori, uh,
yeah, Hidenori,
Hidenori Kazuka, in art by Meito
Ku- Kuzaha,
Kuzaka, and it
Ku,
just says Meito
yeah,
for the artist. Like reading the little synopsis on this, he was like, I never really read Pokemon. I didn't know what I was getting into, and I, you know,
yeah,
started this series, because I guess it was probably just handed to him. He's like, hey, go create this Pokemon manga for us.
right, right. Well, I there was a time when I made like tabletop board games and things like that,
Uh huh.
and we actually did one based off of Pokemon, and I had read this um before we started, and so this one actually gave me ideas on tweaking things when we actually started playing a Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
RPG setting.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
yeah,
So you ready to get into this
to get
first
into this
chapter?
chapter,
And just so everybody knows, we will be doing chapter by chapter for this series, and talking about it, discussing it, stuff like that.
oh man. Hey, do you have the page at the beginning where it's got blue with a Charmander beside him and red with like a band-aid on his cheek and Bulbasaur beside him?
No.
Okay. So let me tell you real quick. I saw this thing the other day talking about his little comic talking about Charmander and Charizard died. And
Uh-huh.
when the carcass rotted and everything, the skull was left,
Mm-hmm.
and Charmander walked up and grabbed it and put on the head, and that's how they say that Cubone was created. Um, and that the spines poke out of it. And I've never seen a Charmander do that. But on this first page that I'm looking at, there's a Charmander where his bones are sticking out of the back.
Yeah, no. That's not on my page.
Okay, yeah, I just thought it was weird.
My page has a Nidorino on the front on it.
Yeah. I'll
But
see your picture.
But our story starts out in Pallet Town with these kids. They look to be about like 5 or 6. They're trying to catch a Nidorino, and the Nidorino doesn't want to get caught. This little girl's trying to catch it, and she's like, "Oh, drats! It bounced off again." I don't know how. It seems like she's having a very hard time with trying to catch this Pokemon. And you hear a voice off to the side, and he's like, that's not how exactly you catch Pokemon. Let me show you how to catch Pokemon. And he throws out his is it the Poliwhirl?
Yeah,
He throws
Poliwhirl.
out? Huh?
Yeah, Poliwhirl.
Yeah, Poliwhirl. He throws out Poliwhirl. He's like, Poliwhirl, water gun. And he shoots with water gun out of his hands. What?
When did Red get a Texas accent? Water gun.
Water gun.
I just had to pull that out. Water gun, Poliwhirl.
Poliwhirl, get that water gun.
We're gonna catch this at Nidorino, okay?
We're gonna catch it. We're gonna cook it, eat it for dinner.
Oh my god! People are gonna be like, "That's exactly how all these people sound."
I don't know why my Texas accent came out there.
I don't know. That was the funny part. Oh god!
So what happens after Poliwhirl hits Nidorina with the water gun?
It weakens him enough and dazes him where Red can actually throw this Pokeball to catch him.
Mm-hmm.
And successfully we catch the Nidorino.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of get a little panel thing down at the bottom where Red is talking about it, and he goes, "Everybody knows me in Pallet Town, and why not? I'm the best Pokemon trainer around."
Can I just ask a quick question?
What?
As reading these boxes, these square boxes where Red is narrating, who's he talking to?
I assume he would be talking to all of us, reading it.
Or is he just talking in his head?
No, I bet he's telling us. The weird thing would he be talking to us from like where he is at the end of the series, or is he talking to us like by the end of this chapter?
Oh, that's an interesting thing.
Like, is his arrogance coming through right now, or is he actually joking with us from his future self? Or he could be like an old man narrator,
That's true. Yeah, I'm curious about that. Yeah, that's interesting to think about. Who's he actually talking to? Is he telling us the story? Whatnot. And so he's with these kids, and these kids are like, "Hey, there's this guy, Professor Oak. He knows all about these Pokemon." And Red's like, "Whatever. I don't need Professor Oak. You guys can stick with me because I'm like the best trainer around."
Which, I wonder too, because we see the bug catcher guy from the video games. I wonder if the other two kids, if the other little boy is the bird guy, and the other little girl is usually the schoolgirl.
Maybe. But we find out that Professor Oak trained his grandson. And his grandson has been overseas, which I'm curious where exactly he was overseas. His grandson was?
He was in America, okay?
Was he in America?
He was in America.
Pokemon? Because at this point, we haven't established the other places.
Well, so here's the weird thing, too. If we go off of that thought, why hasn't there been a Pokemon video game come out where there were Pokemon in America?
I mean, they just had Pokemon in Europe, right?
You know what he must be doing?
What?
He must be looking for Digimon, because Digimon was in America.
Yeah. Yeah, he's looking for Digimon. Obviously, he's looking for the Digimon,
Yeah.
But I like this panel right here, and I like the interpretation of the Pokeballs, where you can, like, Poliwhirl can see out of the Pokeballs, and you just see Poliwhirl sitting in the Pokeball.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Yeah, and he's like, we're
I think
gonna,
that's one of the fun things about it.
and Red's like, stick with me. We'll become good Pokemon trainers. And he bumps into a member of Team Rocket. And what happens next with his interaction with Team Rocket?
He's like, "Where'd the guys come from?" And he sees the Pokeballs, which I guess there's some kind of great ball. They have an S on them.
Yes, I mean, maybe like a Great Ball or something. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
what
they're
it looks
looking
like.
for a Pokemon, a Phantom Pokemon.
Right? Which, do we know who that is yet?
We'll find out in this chapter.
So, they're talking about where they haven't searched yet. They're trying to comb through the area so that way they know where this Pokemon is. I guess there's like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're trying to just run around and find where this Pokemon is. And Red hears it and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I have to go find. Maybe I can find this guy first."
Yeah, and they're talking about going to the West Woods, and he's like, "Oh man, thanks for telling me. I gotta get there before them." And you see him; he's in the woods, and he has like, I want to know where the hell did he get all these Pokeballs? He has like 20 to 30 Pokeballs in his hands.
Right, and they're not even used. So
Yeah, they're not even used. He's like, He's like, "Whoa, I beat him here. I'm gonna, get this special Phantom Pokemon." And we see, um, Red sees um, this other trainer and he's like, "Man, the creepy guys beat me here." And we see, who we find out is Blue, and Blue is Professor Oak's grandson. If you don't know who Blue is actually Gary from Pokemon, the
yeah,
anime.
his depiction.
His depiction. He looks just like Gary.
So I wonder when when this came out in Japan, if his name was Green over there or not.
No, Green's a different character.
No, but I mean over there because originally the games that were supposed to come out, he was supposed to be Green.
But
So I
Green's a
wonder.
girl.
No, I mean originally in the games and everything, whenever you got the games in Japan, it was only red and green, and then when
No,
they came over here, it was red and blue.
yeah, but I'm telling you, yeah, but in the game, in the Japanese version, Green, the female character who we'll meet later on, is in the Japanese game. It's not in the English game.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
she wasn't in it at all.
No, yeah, she wasn't in our version. She got taken out.
Because I know that Gary was also in the Japanese version was known as green instead of blue like it is for us.
No, he was actually known as Blue, from what I remember.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
What a conundrum.
Green is actually the woman or the girl we meet in like a couple chapters.
Oh,
She was
okay.
just taken out of our version because I guess they didn't want her in our version. Yeah,
That we couldn't have 3 versions.
we couldn't have 3 people or rivals or whatever.
Yeah.
But in this, there's actually another rival who we will meet later on.
Yeah.
And we see Blue and Red's kind of in the bushes being a little creeper. And you see Blue summon his Charmander, and the Phantom Pokemon that they are all meeting or trying to find is Mew. And
Mew.
Blue sends Charmander out to fight, and Red's like, "What? He's a Pokemon trainer? He's got himself a Charmander?" And
You
Red,
see it?
no,
There it is again.
Blue and Mew are fighting. Well, the Charmander is fighting the Mew, and Blue calls back his Charmander, and you hear Red go, "What? Why did you go and do that?" And he kind of jumps out of the bushes, And what happens? What happens exactly between red and blue?
Oh, did you see the thing I was talking about the Charmander's back?
No.
If you go to where he's
Oh yeah,
attacking,
yeah, I see it. Yeah,
he's got his spine sticking out.
it's a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
So blue calls back his Charmander,
Right,
and
and
red's shocked
then
because red thought he was gonna win.
right. So he throws out Poliwhirl, tells him to use water gun on him, and Poliwhirl is like instantly knocked out.
Yeah, because Mew uses like psychic on him and throws the water gun back. It looks like
Yeah,
at
knocks him out.
Poliwhirl, and Blue's like, man, you should really know your limitations because I called my Charmander back because obviously this Pokemon had a bigger power level than my Pokemon, was stronger basically.
Yeah,
And he's like, you need to learn your limits or you're never gonna like win, basically. You know, you're never gonna be a good trainer.
right.
And Blue goes off, and we see the Team Rocket people that showed up before. They're like, "Oh, what's going on? All the woods is basically burned down." And he's like, "Hey, kid, hey, what's going on here? Have you seen this phantom Pokemon?" And he's like, what's going on? And
Yeah,
so our manga ends basically with Red realizing he's not the best Pokemon trainer out there, and he might actually need some help from this Professor Oak fella. And
yeah,
he hasn't really gone or had contact with Professor Oak because he's thought he was a mean old geezer basically.
yeah.
And that's where our manga ends. Is Red is going to go to Professor Oak's lab.
Rings the
You know,
doorbell. Ding dong.
ding dong. And that's the end of our first manga.
Our
What
first
did you
chapter.
think? Yeah, first chapter. Sorry, our first manga was only 15 pages. It was a short
Right.
manga. It was a short manga. It was
Very
short.
short manga. It
It
wasn't
was
even a
very short.
manga. It was a
Yeah,
one shot taste test.
it was just a pamphlet.
Yeah, it was the little floppy pantlets that they give out.
So, what did you think rereading this manga or reading this first chapter?
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, yeah.
Yeah, so it reminded me more so of the Pokemon Go anime
Oh
be-
yeah,
because they back up and you have um the character Go trying to find Mew or
yeah.
Celebi.
Mm-hmm.
Mew. Yeah.
It's Mew.
And so it kind of like had that nostalgia of it because I've
Mm-hmm.
watched that this year. Um
Wasn't that one you weren't gonna watch?
no.
Okay.
I didn't like Aloha or
Oh, okay.
Alola.
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
kind of sucked. That one sucked really bad.
So, but yeah, I mean, it brought up some nostalgia and kind of, I feel like, gave me the feels of like when you first start a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
You go through everything, you learn all the different stuff, and just kind of like a storyline of how to like get all the stuff. Now, the one thing I did like about this compared to the game is that you already had a Pokemon or you chose a Pokemon
Yeah.
before you
I'm
actually
I'm
met the professor first.
I'm curious about that, like how he got his Poliwhirl. You
We
know,
find that out.
you find it out later. Okay.
Yeah, because he actually evolved.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Well, I mean, he had a Poliwag.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he had a Poliwag.
Yeah.
I think it's his family's Poliwag.
Okay. Because in the next one he ends up getting Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
I think it is. Which I was looking through the second chapter, and he doesn't
Yeah.
have Nidorino with him. He only has Poliwhirl and Bulbasaur.
No.
Where
And
where
and
where did
so here's the weird thing.
where did
I
Nidorino go?
I think the reason why they only included Nidorino, he doesn't want Nidorino. Nidorino, he might have given Nidorino to that girl.
Oh, true, probably.
Um, but the one thing is when you start a video game, or
Uh-huh.
whatever, the whole first opening sequence of the old games like this is a Nidorino and a Gengar.
Yeah.
So I really wonder if that's why they used the Nidorino instead of any other Pokemon.
Yeah. Cuz
You know,
it's
because
one you see early in the game.
yeah, because originally like it would either be like a Rattata or a
Yeah, yeah.
Pidgey or maybe a Caterpie, but it's not going to be a Nidorino.
Yeah, I was curious why they would he wouldn't go and choose his Pokemon like in the beginning of the game. He already had already had a Pokemon basically, and
Yeah,
he hasn't really started on his Pokemon journey. He's just starting now, so it's different than the game. A little different in that aspect. We meet Team Rocket very early in this. We don't know they're Team Rocket, but we meet them. You know, and
yeah,
just gotta say they all look the same. They all look exactly the same.
yeah.
and and I like that we meet Blue. We get this rivalry with Blue starting off. Blue is really very mysterious. We have Mew, who is one of the strongest Pokemon ever, to a lot of people, and we get like this mystery about
Well,
what's behind.
Mew technically is supposed to be like the strongest creature ever.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But people
They're
like to
just
debate. Pokemon people like to debate shit. Okay,
legendary. This legendary is better than that legendary.
this legendary is better than that legendary because my legendary is a shiny legendary.
The one thing that caught me off guard in this one though, and I
What?
don't know if we'll see it in book 2 or not, is he actually nicknames his Pokemon,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and I didn't see that at all in this like first book at all of
Yeah.
yeah, because I think he just takes their name and he puts Boo behind it. So
Uh
like one
huh.
of them's Peekaboo
Huh.
um and
That's interesting
Polyboo and
because at the very end of this book, it has like what Pokemon he's using,
yeah.
and I don't want to like spoil like which ones he's using, but like he has
No, we all we can tell you is he's got the Poliwhirl and of course the Bulbasaur at some point.
yeah it, they're not named. They don't have Boo at the end of their names.
Right. So
It's
I
just their
I
normal
wonder
names.
if that
So
came around in book 2 or if that when did that come around?
I don't know. We'll have to see. But I
Cuz
really liked. I really liked this first volume. I thought it was very, or this first chapter was really easy to get into. I liked the artwork. I thought the artwork was really very well done. I thought
yeah,
Red was a little bit of an asshole, kind of,
I
but Blue
agree.
was an asshole as well. They're both assholes.
That's true.
They're meant for each other. You know,
Yeah, one of them just seems arrogant and the other one seems more of
he's
the
cocky.
standoffish type. Yeah.
One's arrogant and one's cocky.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
but yeah.
True.
But I wish there was like a list was a little longer so we'd get a little bit more action. But I mean, it was just the first chapter, so
That's true.
we did get a little action. I liked the little action that we saw because that's one of the highlights of the Pokemon manga is the battles are really well done.
Right. Well,
That's
I
what
mean,
everybody says.
I feel the same way about like the video games. Like you would get a little sneak peek with the video game. It would tell you like where you were supposed to go or what you were supposed to do,
Yeah,
and until you really got there, like you didn't know.
yeah,
So I feel like it's getting us set up and prepared for everything. With Mew, and we've gotten Team Rocket involved now, and what's going to happen with them. Of course, the rivalry with Gary or Blue, the meeting with Professor Oak and getting to pick his first quote unquote starter Pokemon
yeah,
and just really going from there.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see where he goes, and I'm really interested to see how Green uh gets wrapped up into this
Right.
because we don't see Green in this one, but we'll see her in like the next one, I think, or the one after. And
Yeah.
she's the one who has the Squirtle is the one that she
Yeah.
gets because Gary has no Blue has Charmander,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good first chapter. I really liked it. Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. But
So hopefully y'all will all stick around and listen to the rest of the other chapters for volume 1 or
we got a
omnibus
lot to go.
volume 1,
We have a
and
lot of chapters
stick
to
around
go.
and listen to it and everything.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're big Pokemon fans like us, and this should open up a little more conversation for you guys to actually say stuff to us. Send us questions, ask us anything. What's your favorite Pokemon? Whatever, and let's get a little conversation going while we're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and as always, where are they going to find us at and what
You
time?
can find us at otakuologypodcast@gmail.com. That's our email. You can find us on our Instagram. You can find us on all major podcast platforms. Check out all of our other podcasts that we do. They're not hard to find, you know.
This is true. I mean,
Yeah.
already if you're listening to this, you got to be in the right area or the same room to listen to everything else. So
Yeah. But this is not taking over our main podcast. This is just something we're doing for you guys because it's something that we love doing.
because we're Pokemon nerds.
I mean, I'm a mild Pokemon nerd. You know,
That still means you're a Pokemon nerd.
I mean, I think I've become more of a Pokemon nerd from the manga. Yeah.
Stay
But
tuned
anyways,
next week when
guys,
me and Mike play the Pokemon games and trade and stuff. So,
I don't have the Pokemon games.
but as always, guys, see you next Tuesday.
Thanks for listening.